Hey, how's it going, guys? Yaniv here, and let's just get right into it because earlier today I had a personal trainer come over and talk to me about business, and we always talk about business, entrepreneurship, and how to just get what you want out of life. Now, this wasn't anything new for me because that's usually what we do. We work out and we talk about this kind of stuff, but today there was something a little bit different. I mentioned something to him at the end of the workout that left him completely speechless, and I believe this one thing that I talked to him about is actually something that's responsible for a lot of people's success. And I believe if you can master this one skill, you'll be unstoppable. Now, this concept isn't something that I came up with, and I don't even think that I've fully mastered it. I definitely haven't. But the most successful people in the world definitely have. Have you ever wondered why the most successful people in the world continue to do what they do day in and day out? I mean, if you're worth 10 or 20 or $100 million, then why do you continue to do what you do? Because it's more money than 99% of people can spend in their whole lifetime, yet these people continue to move forward. Personally, I believe there's a few reasons for this, right? So one, obviously, is their meaning and their purpose. Probably that's what they're doing because when you get that successful, you have to be driven by a meaning and a purpose. But I believe that's not necessarily the only thing that keeps them going, right? Again, this isn't a concept that I came up with. This is a concept that more successful people, much more successful people than I, continue to talk about. So let's back up, right? Before today, before anything, the first time I heard this concept first talked about that really blew my own mind was from Alex Becker. He talks about it a lot on his channel, but in depth, he's gone into it in his book, The 10 Pillars of Wealth, which honestly, if you haven't read it, it's a great read. You should check it out. So anyways, obviously we know he's a very successful guy. He's a very successful entrepreneur, and he's very, very smart and knows exactly what he's doing. But since then, I've also heard the same concept talked about by other people. And the concept that I'm talking about is gamification. You may or may not have heard this before, but when I told this to my personal trainer, he really, was left speechless. He turned around to me and he's like, there's only a few things that people have told me that has actually left me completely speechless. And this is a true story, guys. Like, this happened today, and this is what inspired me to make this video for you guys. Basically, this concept is something that's taught in schools by gamifying lessons or teachings that otherwise would be pretty boring, that no one would want to do. So they realized that, making lessons and kind of boring stuff into a game, turning into a game, was actually helping kids learn a lot better and also see a lot more results. But I guess what some successful people have found out is that you can easily apply those same, concepts, that same gamifying concept into the real world. So basically in his book, The 10 Pillars of Wealth, Alex Becker actually talks about this one game he used to play super, he was pretty addicted to it as far as I understand, and he would play it all the time. It's called World of Warcraft. Many of you guys have probably heard about it before, maybe even played it yourselves. And he mentioned how in this game, there was people who could get addicted so quickly and so crazily. They wouldn't sleep, they wouldn't eat, they wouldn't shower, they would just play World of Warcraft. And maybe some of you guys have heard this too. I'm sure I can pull up some articles. I swear I've heard of someone, literally dying from playing the game so much because they were so addicted to the game. And the question is, why were they so addicted to the game? And so I guess that question really, made Alex Becker think. And what he comes up with is that he says there are two reasons. So the first reason is because humans want instant gratification. They want something right away, and games are the easiest way to get that. It's literally like a button. You're just pressing the dopamine button and you're getting that dopamine release, and that's why it's so addictive. But the thing is, that itself wasn't actually the only reason, because in fact, sometimes, especially in this World of Warcraft game and stuff, you'd really have to put in hours and hours and maybe weeks or even months to achieve something, in the game. That really takes a lot of time and a lot of work to get. So because of that, it couldn't have just been instant gratification, because, again, people had to put, tons of hours and potentially weeks into this, game to actually get something that they wanted. So there had to be another reason. And reason number two, and potentially the only reason people get addicted to games in the first place, is because they believed and they knew that they could achieve an outcome. Let me explain. So basically, in the real world, we have societal pressures and friends and family, and just, basically what society tells us is normal and how things need to be done are the way that they need to be done. Everyone tells us that our dreams are crazy or that our goals are unrealistic. And you can see this in the real world with little kids. If you ask a kid who was 4, 5, 6, 7, I don't know, whatever, you can ask them, what do you want to do or what do you want to be when you grow up? And they'll give you, answers like an astronaut or, just absolutely crazy things that might not be the most realistic things, but they have a dream, they have goals, they have a passion. And then somewhere along the line, this all goes away. Somewhere along the line, we're told to be realistic and to think more realistic with our futures. In the game, there really isn't any of that, because you come into the game as a complete beginner, but you realize as you continue to play that there's people who are more successful than you, and you can see that this is a reality. This is possible for somebody else, and it's possible for you as well, right? If you see someone who's level whatever 100 or whatever, I don't know, right? And they're doing really well, and they have all the coolest armor, and they have all the coolest stuff, you know that it is possible for you as well. And again, the example that Alex Becker uses in his book is that he was talking about in the World of Warcraft, when you come into the game and you see somebody who has the coolest stuff, and you know that it's possible to achieve it. So your immediate reaction isn't to just give up or to just be realistic in the game. You go out and you work hard because you know that you can get it if you work for it. And another example, which is funny, that Alex Becker also used is in The Sims. And I'll be honest here, guys, I used to play The Sims, maybe 10 years ago. I was pretty addicted to the stuff as a kid, and I really like The Sims, but there's a really big story to be told in a game like that, and I'll explain. Alex Becker says that in The Sims, whenever you want a promotion or you want a raise or you want to learn a skill, what do you do? And the people who have played The Sims, or at least know what The Sims is that you just tell them to go out there and you tell them to work their ass off until they learn that skill, right? If you want to get a promotion, then you go do all the things you need to do to get that promotion. And what you obviously have to take account for is their bars, so their food bar and their social bar and whatever. But the thing is, you get those as much as they need to be. You need to get them to sleep. But every living moment that they have that you're not filling up their bars, you're using it to grind away and to hustle to achieve something that is possible to get. You don't really worry about a social life for the sim. You don't worry about being bored. You don't worry and you don't let them procrastinate. You just get them to go and do what they need to do until you see results. So what's the difference between the game and the real world? That's the actual question. Why do people in one situation get super, super excited to go out there and work and to hustle and to, achieve their goals, but in the real world, they just give up and say that it's unrealistic, it's crazy, dreams are, they're not gonna happen, so just stop wasting your time. So what is the difference? And guys, the answer is actually gamification. And knowing that your efforts are going to be worth it. You know that the outcomes are coded by coders into the game. You know that if you want to learn skills or you want to get a promotion in Sims or you want to be level whatever in World of Warcraft, you know that's possible because it's been coded by the coders. But in the real world, you don't think that it's possible because there's no coders coding that for your life. It boils down to you not believing that your goals are a possible outcome for your life. And that right there is the biggest problem by far. I believe you have to listen to people who are more successful than you because they've been there and they've done that. And one of the biggest things that nearly, if not all successful people talk about is the belief in themselves to achieve their goals. It's all about your mentality. And that right there is the key to gamification and why some people can use gamification to really take off in their careers and others just sit back, relax, and realize and accept that their dreams are unrealistic and crazy, like everyone tells them they are. You won't be able to ever embrace the power of gamification if you're always doubting that it's going to be possible for you to achieve your dreams. When you really believe it's possible, that's when you're gonna get it. And I know that sounds so cheesy and you've heard it probably tons of times before, but the truth is for myself as well. Before I started, when I was cleaning windows, when I was hustling, grinding, I didn't know how my life was gonna turn out, and I still don't know, right? I'm 23 years old, I don't know what the future is to hold, but I know that I will achieve my goals. I know that I will work hard to achieve my goals because I know it's possible for me because it's happened to many other people in front of me. So I look at other people and I see, hey, I saw this person, he's successful. That means that it's also possible for me to be successful because if he does it, then I can do it. Or if she does it, then I can do it. And that right there is probably the biggest key to success. And I know this video is a little bit different than what I usually put out, but if you did enjoy, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and leave a comment down below letting me know if you agree with me, if you disagree. Honestly, I want to hear your kind of comments and what you guys have to say. I'll be answering there as well. And if you guys want to see another cool video, then check it out right there. And I'll see you guys in the next one.